Hello, I'm IBXToyCat and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the second most important part of any seed in Minecraft for Xbox and Minecraft PlayStation, and that is the naturally generated structures that come along with these seeds. So, the first most important part is of course the biomes, having the ones you want, not having the ones you don't want, for instance, but the second most important part is the naturally generated structures, because unlike on PC where you can keep exploring to find more of these, if you don't have, a desert temple in your world, for instance, this is the one we're going to start with, then, you just don't ever get one. If you want to have one, you're gonna have to reconstruct one yourself, which isn't really the same. And these are just amazingly cool things to have in the world, because they're pre-built buildings that exist in the world that gives you opportunities to explore, opportunities to get some extra blocks. Like you can get so much sandstone from the pyramid, for instance, and also extra opportunities to get a really great head start on the game, because desert temples and jungle temples can give you gold, iron, etc. to start with. Villages can give you diamonds and emeralds, and dungeons can actually give you access to as well as books with really cool enchantments. They can give you golden apples. So lots of really cool stuff that you can get from these places if you get to them early. I think they're all pretty great, and I'm going to be talking about all the current naturally generated structures we have in the game right now for Minecraft Xbox and Minecraft PlayStation. So please do like the video if you do like it. It helps out the channel a lot, and it lets me know you do like it. And let's get straight into this video by talking about the desert temple and a few little fun facts as well as why it's so useful. So first of all, this is definitely the biggest above ground naturally generated structure. They are just a massive thing to behold, and if you're in a desert biome, you can probably see if that one has a desert temple there, because these are just massive. They're 10 blocks high, they're over 20 by 20 wide, and on top of that, they have quite a few entrances, and they're just very unanimous. So there are 5 separate entrances to this thing. There are 2 on the side, there are 2 in these little side bits, and there are also 1 at the front. You might be wondering, actually, because I was personally wondering, what is with this weird pattern on the front? Because now, to me, this is just, I think of this, and I think Minecraft, but in fact, this is actually the Egyptian symbol for life, I believe, or it's the closest Minecraft representation, and I thought that was really cool that these temples represent life when, the inside is very different, because once you do make your way inside, there's nothing too exciting here. Like, there's some really cool, it's structured in a really cool way where it's got these cool little, side passages and things, but in reality, there's only one interesting thing going on here, and that is if you head down here, you'll find, so I'm going to go night vision so I can actually see stuff. If you head down here, and assume you don't hit the TNT, which apparently a mob has spawned in here, then what will actually happen is you can get yourself access to loads of cool stuff. So you can get diamonds, you can get emeralds, you can get horse armor, you can get all that stuff. And in addition to that, as you've seen has happened here, basically there is also a pressure plate in the middle. If you hit the pressure plate, it activates TNT, which is more than enough to kill you. There's no way out if you do hit it. And yeah, that's why this place is so brilliant. It's a great start to the game if you can do it right, which is maybe why it's called, why it has the life sign, but it's also one of the easiest sources of death, because you make one small trip up, you fall down this middle block instead of the sides, and you're just dead. That's as simple as that. So I thought that was pretty cool, and that is the first structure we're talking about. It's probably even my favorite above ground one too. Anyway, let's move on to the second one, which is just over here. And this is one with quite a few variants. Well, there's 2 main variants of it, but even within the type of village that there is multiple ones of those, and it is the village, as I just mentioned. So yeah, the village is the second structure we're talking about, and this is one of the older ones because it used to generate way before villages even existed, which is a confusing thing to explain now, but that's kind of how it was. And yeah, villages come in 2 major forms. They come in the regular form, which is just called a village, and they come in a desert village form, which is where instead of having wood and stone and all these things, it's just entirely made out of sandstone and, sand. Not so much the sand, but like sandstone, and I think it also has these stone slabs up here. But yeah, sandstone for the most part, instead of all this extra stuff, which is, it fits the environment quite well, and they almost blend in to some extent. Instead of having a gravel pathway, they have a sandstone pathway, and yeah, that's that. But even within the village type itself, so even if you have 2 types of normal villages, they can be very different, because there's lots of different buildings inside these villages, and they're not just for decoration, they all do serve separate purposes. So the big one that most people know about, and that if you don't know about, you should know about, is the Blacksmith Chest. So this is really cool because it gives you access to diamonds, iron, it can give you access to apples, obsidian. There are so many cool things here, and it's just another one of those big head starts to the game. It's probably the best part, the best naturally generated thing in the game, because it's so easy to get to, and as you've seen in my race to the Wither, 10 obsidian and 4 diamonds just from 2 chests is really, really great. So that's great right there. It's also access to some lava, some stone slabs, some furnaces, pretty cool stuff. But there's also a few other things you should know about. So there is the librarian's place right here, which is where the librarian villager will spawn. These aren't so necessary to trade with to get stuff off them, unless you want clocks and stuff, but they are great sources of emeralds, because all you need is paper or books to trade with them, and they also give you a free crafting table. So between the crafting table and the furnace, you have like a couple of the really important things you need. Usually you'll find 1 to 2 of these librarian places to village. They're really great if you do find them. Third up, we have the butcher shop. So this is where the butcher will generate, and this is also where a lot of villagers will usually congregate. It looks like a villaging house. But yeah, this is where the butcher will sell stuff to you. This is like the counter he sells you stuff on. It's not too great. The way you can identify these for the most part is they have like this outside area right here. I think this is meant to simulate where they go to kill pigs and stuff. Not that they actually do, but yeah, that's that. And there's also just normal villager houses. This is a regular house just here. Oh, sorry, this is another butcher shop. But just over here, we have a villager hut. And over here, we have a villager house. As you can see, just where farmers generate and do their thing. That's all they're really all about. So, yeah, another villager house just over here. And the villagers, you know, even though they have a specific house, they'll move around the houses, talk to each other, do that sort of stuff. And these places are just the only way to get emeralds that doesn't involve mining. The only sustainable way to get emeralds. And, yeah, there's 2 types of these. I'll show you the second one as well as the final type of thing that I can show you here just now. But let's move on to the next structure, which is going to be the jungle temple. So, jungle temples are really cool because they're found in jungles and they're one of the only good things in jungles, in my opinion. Basically, they're really unique because they're the only thing in Minecraft to naturally use redstone. And if you wonder what I mean by that, you probably do know what I mean already. But if you go inside them, let's make sure we give ourselves a little bit of vision. There is a few cool uses of redstone. First of all, there's the little puzzle over here, which always has the same result, but I always forget exactly what it is. I think it's 1 up, 1 down, 1 there. But yeah, if you do this little puzzle, it'll actually activate a thing over here where you can go get your chest. But the other way they use redstone is they actually have these little tripwire hooks everywhere. So this means that if you want to break them, you can actually get yourself some free strings, some free tripwire hooks, and some free redstone. But it also means that there's dispensers in here, there's arrows, and, you know, just even if the chest is really bad, you still get some pretty nice stuff in the form of that. Also, it's one of the only sources mossy cobblestone, and that's pretty cool. But yeah, so get yourself some arrows from both of these things, get rid of all the redstone, get a nice start there, and also get yourself some iron, some gold, potentially some diamonds, potentially some, you know, enchanted books, all that sort of stuff. So if you break yourself through one of the walls, if you're going to break a wall, I'd recommend this one here. So you see where the staircase is? Just break a couple of blocks and you can get access to the 3rd chest. Because you can, you know, do the fun little puzzle. But where's the fun in actually doing the thing the game wants you to do? So, yeah, if you go here, you can get yourself some extra gold, some extra iron, some extra bones, potentially some extra diamonds, and all that sort of stuff. And that is the jungle temple. It's a cool source of mossy cobblestone, the only natural source of redstone. And I think they're really cool personally. I like them quite a bit. So, moving on to the next one, we have a desert village here. You can see what I meant earlier. Instead of being made out of wood and stuff, it's just made out of this stuff. And it's pretty cool. By the way, this actually has some crop planters with it, which is another reason villages are so great, because you can get potatoes, carrots, and wheat all naturally from these places. The next structure we'll move on to is one that I have very little to say about, and I'm not sure there is very much to say about in the whole world, but I'll give it a shot right now. Desert wells are a thing that generate in deserts that are a source of water. I mean, there's other sources of water in deserts, but if you want a really cool looking one, then this is the thing for you. So yeah, these do only generate 1 of every 1,000 chunks, so they are pretty rare, but they just serve no real function. They exist above ground, and they're just a thing that are there. Not too much to say. If you want to refill your bucket, you can refill it from the middle and get infinite amount of water. Maybe that's why they exist. They're a free infinite water source, but that's the only even half logical reason I can think of. Anyway, moving on to the next one. We're going to have to start moving underground. Actually, no, wait, we'll go to the last above ground structure, and then we'll start going underground with our stuff. So, the next one is kind of what I like to call the swamp temple, because every biome, or at least it's happening this way, seems to have its own, you know, thing that can only generate in that biome, and the swamps version is the witch's hut. So this is where you can find witches spawning naturally. You can also find yourself a free crafting table, a free cauldron, and a free flower pot. But this is where you'll find witches spawning naturally, which is a pretty cool way to find them if you don't want to just go out at night, because they do have pretty cool drops. But other than that, it's just a cool source of you know, some wood, and it's also just a thing you can find in the woods that makes them a little bit more scary, because you want to avoid these if you're playing, you know, hardcore, for instance, because witches are seriously deadly mobs. So that is the witch's hut, a pretty cool thing, probably the rarest naturally generated structure in the game out of the ones I'm showing you today. And yeah, this is where this is just here. So they're found just in swamps, and that's probably one of the reasons. But let's move on to the second village here, because I want to show off the final structure I couldn't show you, and that is the church just here. So the church is where the priest villager will generate. He's probably the rarest of all the villagers, because this and the blacksmith chest are just as rare as each other. And yeah, the priest has some really cool trades for IF enders, redstone, glowstone, all that sort of stuff. And here is the priest just over here, strolling around the village. So he's giving me, you know, efficiency 1 on my iron axe, which is actually a reasonably good trade if you don't have a enchantment table yet. But yeah, besides besides that, there is also these desert wells. These do generate around the place. You might find them around and think, oh, that's really cool. They're actually just failed villages that don't, unspawn the cobblestone well for some reason. As far as I know, these are a console exclusive, and they don't really serve any purpose unless you want to go 10 blocks deep. But inside, the actual well inside a village isn't a console exclusive. That is something also on the PC. Anyway, let's go underground to talk about other structures that you find below ground. So the next 4 structures are, of course, all below ground, and the next one I'm going to show you is actually a 1 per world deal. It's just over here. And you can probably guess what I mean when I say 1 per world deal, but just in case you can't, it is, I'm going to fall in lava, but whatever, it is the Stronghold. So the Stronghold has one main purpose in your world. They only spawn once per time on the console worlds and 3 times on the PC, but they have one main purpose, and that is to give you the end portal, because when you fill this with IF enders, I'm sure you all know that you activate the end, and that's, the one big, boss fight on the console. It used to be anyway, and yeah, that's exactly what that is. But yeah, this is the Stronghold. It's pretty cool. It contains the end portal and potentially a few other chests. There's not really too much reason to go here if you're not going to be defeating the Ender Dragon. Like, honestly, if you don't need to go to the end, these things are just, a cool thing to go around because they spawn too many silverfish. Oh, these contain the, you can only get 1 silverfish spawner per world on the 360, and yeah, that's kind of cool. So, moving on. We're going to just go splash ourselves again. We're going to show another underground structure, which, and actually this is a form of, that thing that you probably don't expect, and that is a ravine. So these can spawn with the surface facing it, but they also spawn below ground a lot. You just might not find them so often. And yeah, these are pretty cool ways to get yourself access to a lot of ores, because, you can see way more ores from this, because you don't have to mine out this whole area. It's mined out for you. So you can see that there's, like, how many veins of iron in here, how many veins of coal, and also if you find them much lower down, you can find diamonds, you can find lava, you can find all these, slightly rarer things, and that's why ravines are cool. That's why they exist, and they are one of the very first naturally generated structures that were introduced to the game, alongside the the ghosty NPC village. So I think they're really cool because I was around when they were first introduced, and they did represent a massive change to the game. And that's pretty cool. Oh, the other thing you might want to go to a Stronghold for, if you want to get loads of free books, you don't have to go through the crafting process. If you break these bookshelves, you get 1 free books each time, and because there is at least 1 or 2 of these massive libraries per world, you can get so many books from these things, and they're always pretty cool. So there's also a couple chests where you'll find like some clocks. So, oh wow, in this case we've got 5 feather falling 4 books. That is incredibly rare, and I don't know if I got lucky or if that's a glitch, but that, I did not do that. That is insane. 5 times feather falling 4. But yeah, you can find books, you can find enchanted books, you can find paper, and you can find all that sort of stuff. So that is what these library rooms are for, and that's the other part of a Stronghold. Anyway, let's move on to the last couple of structures we have to show. I wonder if you can guess what they are already. By the way, this is all on one seed, and I'm thinking of doing a Seed Sunday next week on it. Let me know if you want to see that. But yeah, next thingamajig is going to be the dungeons. So this is what most people just call a mob spawner, and there is going to be a new one of these coming on the PC, so in case you're wondering about new ones, this is just, the one we have right now, and basically these come in 9 varieties. They come in 3 types of, monster varieties, so you can get, you've got a half chance of a zombie, you've got a 25% chance of a spider, and a 1 in 4 chance of a skeleton as well. And you've also got 3 separate varieties of them. You've got the 5x5 one, this tiny little room you see right here. You've got the 5x7 one, where it's like an extra 2 blocks this way, for instance, and you've also got the 7x7 one, which is the biggest one, which isn't particularly massive, but it is the other one. So you've got 3 variants of monster, 3 variants of size, and the chests are always going to have a massive amount of variants, but you can find, horse armor, name tags, saddles, golden apples, music discs. You can find loads of cool things almost exclusively in these places, and I think they're really cool for that reason. Anyway, let's move on to the, also, let's just show you a second one over here, because this is a 7x7, just in case you're wondering, like, how big the difference is. This is a spider spawner in 7x7 form. As you can see, we're going to have to potion ourselves again. As you can see, name tags, music discs. The big thing about this is it's just bigger. It makes it more controllable if you want to charge in there, but it does mean it's slightly harder to light them up, so you could argue these are a bigger challenge. But yeah, that's just all I want to show you here. Let's move on to the last and final structure, and this is one of the most interesting ones because of, like, the history that's meant to surround it, and if you can't guess what it is by now, it is the Abandoned Mineshaft. So, the Abandoned Mineshaft is a really cool naturally generated structure, because not only do they give you access to lots of stuff, you can get, this is the only source of cobwebs in the game. in survival, naturally that is. If you get silk touch shears, you can actually get these cobwebs and take them in survival. But it's also a great source of rails if you don't want to waste your own iron on it. It's a great source of fence posts, which are, you know, kind of annoying to craft yourself. And there's also a few chests you can find in these places that will give you access to, you know, diamonds and stuff. And finally, this is kind of along the same note as the cobweb thing. If I turn left here, I think it is. It also has the only place in the game where you can find one of the mobs, the cave spider. So that's why I think these places are cool. They have their own cool story, which is, by the way, these are like old dwarven mines that were closed down and lost, which is why they have the chest with the food and the diamonds and stuff in. And that's also why there's the big mine shaft, because they used to bring the minecarts in here. But it's also cool because it has an exclusive mob. It has access to lots of cool stuff, and it means that if you want anything, these places are great. So that's the abandoned mine shaft, probably the best structure. I'd almost say it's the best underground structure, that's for sure, because it has all the unique stuff, and yeah, that's that. So if you're wondering why I didn't cover a certain structure, there is technically a lot more structures in the game, but this is just stuff like the tree counts as a structure, the mushroom in the mushroom biome counts as a structure, and I want to cover the actually naturally generated structures that are a bit more interesting than a tree, for instance, and that's what I did today. I hope you did like the video. Like it if you did like it, share it if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. I do stuff like this every single week on my channel, like a Seed Sunday, and I also do Minecraft console videos every single day, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. One final point, if you want to see me show the seed next week for Seed Sunday, because it is pretty cool having all 10 separate generated structures, then please do let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.